Hey, what's up? My name's Leah. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. So this week we're going to be doing another hobby vlog, and basically we're going to be reading some novellas and we're going to be doing some crochet because I have two crochet blankets that I'm going to be working on this week. And this vlog has been in progress for a fat minute, Mary. So basically I started this vlog and the blankets back in the winter, and it's just taken me a while to be able to complete them because it's a lot of granny squares. We're making two big granny square blankets, and one of them is a baby blanket and one of them is just for me. And so we're going to be working on that in this vlog. It's going to be a lot of like crafty updates and crafty crochet b-roll and things of that nature. And we're also going to be reading two novellas. So we're going to be reading this one by Gretchen Felker-Martin, which is Black Flame. And let's take a minute for this cover because she's stunning. Basically, this is a horror novella about a gal who is working at a movie theater and she finds this occult film and watches it, and it unleashes some horrors on the world. And apparently the film she finds, I think, is about Nazis, which I I mean, could be hit or miss. We will see, but I think it's going to be really dark and very creepy. And our main character, Ellen, is consumed by visions and voices, and she becomes convinced that the movie is real and happening to her. And that sounds absolutely terrifying. But I love this cover, and I read from this author before I read Cuckoo, and I really liked it. And so I've been excited to pick up this. And then I also have this other one, very different vibe, and it's called Automatic Noodle. I think this is going to be really fun. I think this is about these robots who open a noodle shop. It sounds really cozy, like kind of like cozy sci-fi. So we shall see. It's from Tor, and I really like Tor. And again, really, really pretty cover. I bought this a few months back and it's been sitting on my TBR shelf, and so I need to pick it up. So that is what we're going to be reading. And then, just so you know, with the blankets, I want to show you some inspiration photos. So for the baby blanket, we're going to be doing a teddy bear granny square blanket, and this is kind of the Pinterest inspiration for this, but I want to do it in like full neutral colors because the gal I'm making it for is a family member, and she really likes like tan and white and more neutrals. And she had a baby in December, and so I want to try and make the granny squares look like polar bears instead of just like normal teddy bears because she has a winter baby and I thought it'd be cute. And then she also had a girl, and so I kind of want to put some pink in the border maybe. And so it's not going to look exactly like this picture, but I kind of want it to be something similar. And then the squares that aren't the polar bears will just be like normal granny squares, and hopefully we'll be able to make that work. I think I'm going to be combining a lot of patterns for this and kind of learning as I go because this is my first baby blanket and first granny square blanket with a bunch of different patterns. So working on that. And then we're also working on this daisy blanket that I've been working on for a while. And this one's just for me, but it's made out of a chunkier Bernat blanket yarn. And this one's going to be loosely based on this photo, with the different color kind of rainbow backgrounds for the daisy squares. So it's going to be really colorful and fun for the spring. And then the pattern I'm going off of is this free YouTube pattern. And in this one, the gal did all the backgrounds around the daisies all in gray. And so I think mine is going to look pretty different than hers in terms of like the color palette, but this is where I got the pattern for the like daisy granny squares themselves. So that's what we're working with this week. I think it's going to be a lot of crochet and a lot of trial and error with some reading sprinkled in. So without any further ado, let's get into the vlog. Hello, my sweet petunias. I've got a little reading update for you. So I started Automatic Noodle and I wanted to talk to you about it. So this is a novella from Tor and it's supposed to be like a cozy sci-fi novel. And I originally picked this up because I really like the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells, and this seemed like it kind of had some similar robots in it, but with more of like a cozy situation going on. So all I knew about it going in was that it's about these robots who are running this noodle restaurant, and that sounded really fun to me. So now that I've gotten into it a little bit, I have learned more about what it's about. So we're following these robots at this restaurant, but we're following one main robot guy. Oh, what is his name? Oh my goodness. His name is Stay Behind. And basically, he wakes up one day and he realizes that he's been asleep for like a year, and he's at the restaurant where he works. And the other robots that he works with, his robot colleagues who work in the kitchen with him, are also there. And they've all been basically put to sleep by their employer. And so they work at this like chain restaurant and they make food for people and stuff. Back in the kitchens, and then these cars pick up the food and go and deliver. So they don't deal with people face to face very often, like humans. And so apparently this company that owns the restaurant they work for has basically gone under because it was like a shady kind of a business, and the owners have like fled the country, and now the robots are dealing with this flood that's happening, and they're realizing that like the restaurant's still functional and they could maybe start their own business together and run the restaurant themselves and instead of having to work for these like shady humans. And so that's kind of what's going on at the beginning. But there's also some other stuff as well. So our main robot characters are talking about this futuristic world that they are living in, and basically they're saying that they live in California and the book is set in San Francisco, but in this world there was a war, and so California is split from the US and is now its own country. And during the war, these robots were used as like soldiers and different things, and so some of them have some programming that was from the war. So our main character robot Stays Behind, he only reawakened once the restaurant people shut him off because he's military grade, and so the restaurant flooded, and when the water touched him, it like reawoken his military like emergency instincts that were programmed into him. And so he woke up, and then he woke up all the other robots. And so one of the other robots is like an octopus kind of creature, and it kind of looks like this. And she was used in like underwater search and rescue during the war. And there's all these different robots. There's also a gal, I think it shows her too, where she looks like a human on the top, but like a robot spider on the bottom. And she was a robot bank teller before the war. Anyway, so these robots have been through this awful war, and a lot of them had to like steal to survive and stuff. And in this world, since they're living in California, they are considered like citizens, even though they're robots. They're considered to be, there's an acronym they use for it. Basically, they're like humanoid type of robots, and so they're seen as people and they have like some rights and stuff. But they can also be, a lot of them are on contract with human employers like these restaurant people so that they can make money. And sometimes if the people that they're on contract with, like the business goes under or whatever, they can be put to sleep and they can wake up in the United States where they're like put into robot slavery and things like that. So there's a lot of like futuristic sci-fi politics stuff going on in here that the robots kind of hint at while they're doing stuff and like kind of cleaning up the restaurant, because like I said, they were awoken because the one robot guy, the water that's flooding into the restaurant because of this big storm that's come through, the water touched him and so it woke him up, and they're trying to like get the water out of the restaurant, and they're trying to kind of look through their logs and do research and stuff to figure out what happened to the company that they were working for, and they're trying to figure out like can they run their own business. And that's kind of like shady because the robots have have rights, but the humans are still kind of running the show in this world. And anyways, it's very interesting, and I like the different robots. They're really fun. They have different like chats with each other where they can talk without actually speaking out loud, but they can speak out loud as well, and they all have different backstories, and they seem to know some about each other because they were working together before they were shut off, but they don't know everything about each other, and they definitely seem to have some secrets that they're keeping from one another in some ways, but it's really fun. I think it definitely has a little bit of that like Murderbot Diaries vibe where you're in the mind of this like kind of humanoid android robot type of character, but this one definitely feels more cozy and a little bit more like political sci-fi vibes, if that makes sense. But I'm curious to see what happens with them opening this restaurant, and I wanted to update you on this. It's going well so far. So with that being said, I think that's all I have for you, so I'll update you when I have something else. This is the first mama who had babies this summer, this black one with the orange on her nose. And that's Mr. MacGyver again this morning. And Nellie's not happy. She's got her angy tail. But that's Miss Mama number one. She's kind of skittish. Hello friends, so this is the point in the vlog where I kind of stopped updating because I started getting kind of in the zone working on these crochet blankets. So I was watching some of Kathleen Illustrated's fun little crafty vlogs to kind of get inspired and get in the mood to craft. And I was working on the daisy blanket and working on all the different colored squares. So there's 30 different crochet granny squares in this blanket, so it took quite a while to work on them. But I ended up using a whole bunch of different colors, but I ran out of the green chenille yarn and I had to buy some more of that, so that kind of slowed down the process on that one. And then I was also working on the granny squares for the baby blanket and trying to figure out the pattern for the teddy bear squares, which was kind of difficult. And I ended up making a whole bunch of them and then kind of realized that I had to redo some of them because I forgot to count my stitches because I got a little too in the zone. And so I had to go back and pull out some of the stitches and redo the border around the bears, and that took quite a while too because that's also a ton of squares in that blanket as well. But I really like how the teddy bear squares turned out. They have little ears that are movable, which is really cute, and I ended up finding a different like embroidery pattern to do the polar bear faces. So I found this pattern on YouTube for these crochet coasters that are polar bears, and the guy in that video did some really cute embroidery on the faces, and so I just took that embroidery pattern from that different coaster pattern and put that on the polar bears for the blanket, and it ended up turning out really, really cute, and I really like how it turned out. So then once all the granny squares for the baby blanket were done, I figured out that they somehow, even though I was using the same pattern consistently at the same time, kind of ended up a little bit misshapen. And so I had to iron them, steam iron them, and then block them on my blocking board. And since they're acrylic, they blocked out really well, which was great, but that took a little bit of time to do all of that, but it was kind of fun because it was the first time I've ever blocked anything before or used my new steam iron, and so it was kind of fun to do all of that with the squares and then put them on the little pegboards and all of that. And so I got a whole bunch of footage of me doing all of that, which is really fun. And then once those were done, I did the embroidery for the faces, and then I worked on joining all of the squares. And so you get to see all of that as well. The face embroidery took quite a while, and I had to kind of experiment with it to make the nose and the mouth look right, because sometimes it came out a little bit wonky. So I did a lot of embroidery experimentation as well in this project. So I didn't really end up filming joining all of the granny squares for the baby blanket, but I did get some footage of me weaving in the 10 bajillion ends, which was quite a feat. I hate weaving in ends. I'm sure a lot of people do with crochet. And then I also laid out all the squares that I had for the daisy blanket because I tried to do each color at the same time, but once I ran out of yarn, it kind of messed up my flow. So I had to lay out all the squares to be able to really see what I had left to finish on the blanket in terms of like just wrapping up the last few daisy granny squares. Friends, countrymen, we are back. I have an update for you. So as you saw, we made a lot of progress with the granny square blankets. Sorry, I didn't update you really as I was doing a lot of that. I am going to do voiceovers to explain everything that I was doing with the blankets, but I kind of just needed to get in the zone and craft because I've never made granny square blankets before or really like blocked granny squares and all of that. So it's been a learning process, and sometimes I just need to like do and not talk, you know? But I got the granny squares done for the baby blanket with the bears, and I got the squares steamed and blocked on the blocking boards and seamed them up together to form the base of the blanket. And then I put a single crochet border on, and that's where we're at right now. And it's coming along. It's looking very cute and darling, which we love to see. However, I put this border on And this is just the first part of the border because the problem with this, and I realized this after I embroidered the little faces on, I was talking to my husband about this blanket, is that it's created these little strings on the back where the bear faces are. And a little baby's fingers could easily get caught in that, and that's kind of a safety issue. So I need to put a backing on this. And so I bought some cream, just like this same color of like a kind of a felted, I guess it's not really felted. I don't know. It's like a really soft material, fabric. And so I saw a video on YouTube of a gal who did a blanket similar to this and did a backing. And basically you take an awl, which if you don't know what that is, it's a pokey tool that I have somewhere that I can't find it right now. It looks like this, and basically you poke holes in the fleece backing. That's what it is, fleece. And then you can put your crochet hook in there and you crochet the backing onto the main part of the blanket at the trim line. And then once those are attached, you can do an additional border to kind of like make sure it's secure and make it look cohesive and cute. So that's what I'm going to do. However, right now, after I seamed all these up and everything, the border as it stands is not really even though I tried to add this single crochets to even it out. And specifically the bottom. The bottom part seems like it's got more stitches than the top somehow, and I don't know how that's transpiring, but yeah, it just doesn't seem even, and you can really tell on this bottom corner. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not very even, and this corner is like weirdly pointy, and the blanket is trying to be like a trapezoid shape instead of a rectangle. And I saw that and I just had to put it down for a little while. Like I just got frustrated and was like, I don't know what to do with this. So I was thinking about it more, and I think I need to block the whole thing on some blocking mats, which I did not have. But I just got these in the mail, these foam blocking mats with the little combs and the T-pins and everything. So I think I want to try and block this blanket. I also might need to pull out some of this single crochet border and add in some decreases on the bottom to try and make it so the bottom isn't like wrinkling in a way that makes it look like that there's too many stitches, which I don't know how that could possibly be a different stitch count than the stitch count at the top of this blanket because it's the same squares and pattern. Hello? It's baffling, really. I'm kind of confused about what's transpiring, but I think that's what we're gonna have to do, and I think between adding in some decreases and blocking, hopefully we can get somewhere with this, and then I'm gonna add on the fleece backing, which I'm also scared about because I've never used the awl tool before, and I've never like poked holes in fabric like that and tried to attach it to a crochet project, so that's whole new can of worms. And I'm gonna try and hopefully it works and is cute and doesn't like mess up the whole blanket. So that's where we're at with this. This has been quite the journey to try and get this done. And then with the other blanket, the flower one, I laid all the squares out because I was not sure how many I had. And so this is what it looks like right now. So we're a few squares short. I've been working on it. I did a few squares at a crochet retreat I went to the other day, and then I ran out of yarn. So I had to order more of this green yarn, and this also came in today. So the blankets have been kind of on pause because I had to order the blocking mats and I had to order this yarn. And so the yarn's here, blocking mats are here, and we can proceed. So I need to make a few more green squares for the flower blanket, and then I still need to seam up all of the squares and put a border on it. Those ones I'm not blocking because they're made out of chenille, so you don't really need to block them. But I did try and like lay them all out and clip them together with stitch markers to be able to see how the design is coming along, and I think it's going to look really cool when it's done, and I'm excited about it, but we have to get that done. So that is where we are at presently with the blankets. I would really like to get some progress done on these in the next few days because I'm ready for them to be completed. But that's my update for you, and I'm going to go work on these blankets, and I will update you when I have something else. Hello, friends, countrymen. We're here for a blanket update. So, things that have transpired since we last spoke. I redid a little bit of the single crochet border on this little bear blanket, and I added in some more decreases to help with just the unevenness that was happening. And then I also blocked it, which I did not film because it was not terribly exciting. I had this blanket on my new blocking mat situation for like a couple days so it would dry and be flat and everything. And it did help a bit with this bottom edge. It's still not totally straight, but it's quite a bit better than it was before. It looks more blanket shaped, so that was good. And then I this part you did see started with cutting the back panel for this blanket, the fleece lining that's going on the back to help cover up the stitching that happened when I did the little bear's faces. So that way the little baby's fingers will not get caught in the back and it'll be really soft and fleecy. So I had to cut that to fit the crochet granny square part and then use an awl and punch holes in the edge of the fleece and crochet some yarn through there. And now I'm joining the two pieces together. So that is what's happened. Frankly, it was not terribly exciting. I only filmed a little bit because I was worried about doing the fleece part because frankly, I can't cut a straight line to save my life. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it right. And I was worried about this top granny square part not being like an even square. And anyway, it worked out fine. As usual, I was in my own head about it too much. And once I actually got into doing the fleece part, it was not that serious. You know what I'm saying? We weren't sending men to Mars. It wasn't open heart surgery. It was like, girl, cut the fleece. And then I also followed a YouTube tutorial for that too on like how to add a fleece backing to a crochet blanket. And the gal in that video said to like cut the fleece an inch wider than your granny square crochet part. And then you fold it under and then poke the holes and crochet it so that way the edge looks really straight. So it doesn't even really matter if you cut the fleece in a straight line or not. Anyways, it was actually really not that hard. It's just really time consuming to do this whole border part and like punch all the holes in the fleece and crochet the two panels together. And anyways, so I've crocheted the panels together on the bottom and partway up the side. I still need to come around this other side, the top, and this other side underneath me. And then I would like to do like a little scallop border after that. And I kind of want to do it pink. Do I have the yarn? Here, let me show you. Welcome to the floor. Okay. This is the I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby. It's just acrylic. It's really not that serious, but it's a really pretty color. Pink anyways, because our family member had a baby girl, so I was thinking this for a little scallop border edge. Are you seeing the vision? I hope so. Anyways, so basically we finish joining the two panels, we do a little kind of like a shell border stitch on the edge, and then she's done. And then in terms of the other blanket, I still have some more daisy granny squares I need to make for that, and then joining everything. So we've made good progress on this blanket, not so much on the other one. I also still need to do some reading. Haven't been reading for this video. I've been reading other random things, getting distracted by random books. Anyways, so I'm going to finish this and I'll probably update you. Well, you'll probably see me finish doing this and then working on the border. Hello, so I wanted to give you an update on the daisy blanket that I've been working on because I finished a bunch of squares. So I was working on these as you knew because I had to get more of this green yarn. So I got this one done, yellow, yellow, more green, more green, more green. All the greens are done, yellows are done, the last blue one is done. So these are all done, which is fabulous. However, Unfortunately, I have lost Yarn Chicken, and this is all the yarn I have left of this white. And I did all the borders in white because when I joined the blanket, I want to do white to join them all these squares together, so that way it will be the rainbow colors with just a white background. And this is not nearly enough to join all these squares, so I'm gonna have to get at least one more ball of this big chunky Bernat blanket chenille yarn, and then I also have to weave in all these 10 bajillion ends and then stitch the whole thing together, which I think is going to take way more time than I was originally anticipating. And I also don't even have the yarn to do it anyway. So I think I'm probably not going to finish the daisy blanket in this vlog, but I will finish the baby one for sure. So that's kind of unfortunate because I would have liked to finish both, but I don't know. I'm either going to need to order more of this online and then that's going to have to come in, or I'm going to have to go to Michael's and see if I can find some that's this exact same shade. And I don't even know if I know where the label is. Anyways, it's too much for my brain right now. One blanket at a time would have been smarter. So I think that's where I'm at with this daisy blanket. And I am going to finish the other blanket though, so you'll get to see that. But I just wanted to let you know that that's where we're at with this bad boy here. This one is actually the first crochet project I ever started. I don't know if I ever said that in this vlog. I actually started this way back before we ever even moved across the country, is when I started making these little daisies, and it's really grown into this what's going to be a gorgeous blanket. But I just keep running out of yarn. That's really what my problem is. So with that being said, I am going to go work on the other blanket and finish that up, and then we can wrap up this vlog. Just about. So that's all I have for you. Sad update, I know. Bummer. But oh well. Sometimes that happens. Hello, my sweet petunias. So I wanted to give you a little update on the blanket. So it's done. The baby blanket, that is. The other one is not, because I ran out of yarn, and I don't know if we're going to finish the daisy blanket in this vlog, just because I need some more of that chunky white chenille yarn, and I think I'm going to have to order it. But I wanted to give you a little blanket reveal on the baby blanket. So are you ready? Moment of truth. Okay. It's so cute, you guys. I'm trying to be on this chair so you can see her in all her glory. What do you think? I think it turned out good. I'm actually really happy. I think it's really cute, and I really hope that the gal I'm going to give it to really likes it. And I think it's got enough neutrals in it that I feel like she'll like it, but it still has a little bit of pink, and I think it's really fun. So here's a little up close for you of the polar bears and the granny squares, and they have little blushy cheeks on them, of course, and the little ears can move, and it's just really, really cute and tender. So I wanted to give you the final blanket reveal, and I think we're coming to hopefully close to the end of this vlog. I still want to do a little bit more reading before we call it quits on this vlog, but I spent ages making this blanket. I think it literally took me months to like do this blanket, and I've been doing this vlog for 7 million years, but I want to show you this because this is a huge moment. This is the first crochet blanket I've ever finished, so that's pretty exciting stuff. So I had to show you that. Like I said, ran out of yarn on the other blanket, which I'm really bummed about, but I basically just need more white yarn to connect all of the daisy granny squares together. But that blanket's just for me, so it can kind of get done whenever. I still would like to get it done like fairly soon, but it's not pressing. But I also want to try and finish the novella that I started earlier in this vlog, Automatic Noodle, and then I also would like to start this novella and maybe try and finish that as well, and then we'll wrap up this vlog. So I will update you when I have another reading update. Hello, my sweet petunias. I'm back with a final reading update and to wrap up this vlog. So I finished Automatic Noodle, and I wanted to tell you about it. So this ended up being a really cozy little sci-fi novella, and it's got some found family elements to it, and it's just like a cozy, slow story that feels like going to your favorite restaurant that you're a regular at and eating noodles. Like, that's the vibe. I really liked the found family stuff in here. I thought it was really cute the way that these robots kind of come together to make this restaurant their own, and they have to deal with these people who are like, they call it robophobic, like humans who hate robots, who are leaving like bad reviews on their website, and they have to fix up the building and everything, and they have to try and like just figure out the recipes and all this different stuff. And it's really cute the way that they come together, and I liked the world building in here. There's a lot of really detailed world building for it being just a novella. Like, with all the setup, it kind of feels like there should be more books set in this world. I really liked the post-war San Francisco discussions. Also, it talks a lot in here about the robots and the way that in this new like country of California, the robots kind of have rights and kind of don't. Like, they are now allowed to like have jobs and stuff, but they can't have bank accounts, they can't get married, they can't vote. Like, there's still a lot of stuff they can't do. They can't own land. And so the robots have to kind of like figure out how they can run this restaurant without it being considered like illegal or them getting in trouble or whatever. And so they're navigating a lot of stuff there. And also the one of the main robot guys, his name is Stays Behind, and I think I told you about him a little bit earlier, and he has this kind of sad backstory that comes up in here because he was a military robot and some stuff happened to him and his friends when he was in the military, and he's kind of been like carrying that with him for a long time, and so you get to hear about that, and I really liked that too. And I just like the way that this group of robots created almost like a third space with this little restaurant that they made. It's just like a cozy place in their post-war torn community where people can just come and hang out and have noodles, and the humans like it and they bring their kids, and the robots come and have this like community space there too, and it's just really sweet and wholesome. I will say in the middle it got a little bit slow for me, but then it quickly picked up again and I like binge read the last half. So I definitely recommend this. I think I'm going to give it a 4-star. I think it definitely did what it set out to do with being a cozy fantasy novella that's kind of got some unique elements with the political stuff and the robots. And it was really good and I liked it a lot. And then I also have started Black Flame by Gretchen Felker-Martin, and this is also really good, just totally different vibes. So in this, we're following this gal named Ellen, and she restores films. That's her job, which I don't know very much about film or movies, and so it's a little bit hard for me to picture scenes in here sometimes when she's at work, like working on restoring the film, because it's a lot of like technical discussions. But it is very fun. So this is a horror, and so we're following Ellen, and she's like a deeply closeted lesbian. Like, girl couldn't get deeper in the closet if she tried, Mary. Anyway, so she's dealing with that, and she's also like pathologically repressed kind of, and her parents are really wealthy. And so I think from what I'd gathered so far, it seems like she had this girl that she was in love with, and I'm not sure if her parents found out or what, but she went to a therapist to quote unquote fix her queerness. Crazy. And now her parents are like setting her up on blind dates with other like rich men, and she sleeps with people, but she sleeps with guys and is like kind of going along with her parents' idea of like wanting her to get married to a man and stuff, but she's disassociates super hard from her body during like sex scenes with men and stuff, and it's clear that she really feels like she's not herself at all unless she's at work. And she kind of talks about like being at dinner with a guy that her parents set her up with and her parents, and feeling like she's inside of a fish tank, like watching herself have this dinner with them. Like she's not there at all, like most of the time, unless she's thinking about girls getting it on or film. And that's just the tea. But basically, this horror novel is about her, and she's restoring this film at work. And it's a film that was created by a Jewish guy, and then it was stolen during World War II by the Nazis when they raided his house. And one of the Nazi guys, once the Nazis were kind of like disbanded or whatever, he stole the film. And so when he died, some people found this old film in this dead Nazi guy's like attic of his apartment. And now it's being restored. And the movie place she works for is getting paid like $1 million to restore this movie for the Germans. And she doesn't want to do it because it's not the kind of stuff they usually restore. Usually they restore like American films and stuff, but her employer guy is kind of weird. And the last film they restored was made by a member of the KKK. And as you can imagine, they had the press got a hold of that and wasn't thrilled. And so the people who wanted this Jewish film restored were like, well, it would look good for you if you restore a Jewish film, since everybody's pissed off at you for restoring a KKK film, and also we'll pay you $1 million. So they do it. And so Ellen's pissed that she has to work on this film, but she's really mad because the film is not only like a Jewish film, and she's Jewish, but her family doesn't really practice anymore, and she doesn't really feel connected to it. And also, the film is a super hedonistic gay horror film, and it has a lot of body horror, and it has a lot of like people in drag, and there's a lot of like explicit sexual stuff and orgies and violence and stuff. And so she is like sicked out about this film, and as she's restoring it, weird things start happening to her while she's in the lab working with the film. And like her hand gets cut open and she starts bleeding everywhere. She's having weird dreams, like falling asleep at her desk, having weird nightmares about like the characters from the film. And she's like seeing visions. She's seeing sees a person walking around the lab in the middle of the night, and she's just like seeing some weird shit. So it seems that this film she's restoring is like a haunted film or something. And apparently she starts thinking that the film is like real, and she's convinced that like the movie's coming to life and happening to her, and that she's unleashing occult horrors on the world, and her life like spirals out of control. And she's also hearing like voices and stuff too. So anyways, it's dark, but it's very gay and very fun. And it's interesting to follow a main character who's like deeply closeted and also just clearly has a lot of past trauma and issues and stuff. So anyways, so far, good stuff. I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but it's definitely not what I thought. It's like way more gay than I thought. I thought the film was going to have to do with Nazis, but it doesn't at all. So all the stuff is showing like scenes from the film or her looking at the film and seeing characters and stuff. It's not the Nazis at all. It's just a film that was stolen by the Nazis. That's the only Nazi part. So anyways, that's the tea. But so far, I mean, I'm loving these a lot, and I'm really glad that I got around to reading them in this vlog, because I've been wanting to read both of these novellas for quite some time. So I would definitely recommend both of these. If you want cozy sci-fi, go with this. If you want a really good gay horror, go with this. This would also be a really good read for Summerween too. I'm kind of mad I didn't put this on my Summerween TBR, but I'm still going to finish it soon anyways, because it's really good. So anyways, thank you so much for watching this vlog. If you made it to the end, leave me either a book emoji or a yarn emoji. And I hope that you like this vlog. If you want to like and subscribe to see more from me, please do so. I usually make videos about books or crochet and knitting and crafting stuff, and sometimes both, like this one. So stick around. There's going to be a lot of new videos coming out soon. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.